Here we are this afternoon, actually this morning, in one of the units that we're having to bring up to date. And as you can see, we're looking at the rail going upstairs in this townhome. And as you can see, the former tenant had dogs, and the dog would constantly scratch toward the edge of the wood to try and get through that fence. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through the steps of not having to tear that all out, and we'll just use some all-purpose Bondo putty, and I'll show you what we got to do to go ahead and correct that. So we'll pause a couple of times during this video because I don't want the battery on my phone to go out. But I'm going to pass the phone off to my wife, and what we do is we start by getting on the edge. Get up closer, dear. On the edge. And we use a paddle bit, so we've got a few anchor spots. Just go in about 1/4 of an inch or so, and don't get all the way up to the edge. Literally just go in about 1/4 of an inch. Now this one is a little larger. And since we are going to be on the edge, we want to get it a little closer to the edge and kind of use that bit. That way the Bondo will have, try and keep the camera, otherwise it makes it miserable for editing. Go down about 1/4 of an inch, and what these do, we used a 5/8 inch paddle bit. There you go, 5/8 inch paddle bit, and all we did was put a few grab holes. Step out of the light, please. A couple of grab holes. This area right up through here is not that much, so it's not bad at all. We'll be able to hook onto that one anchor point and blend this marvelous all-purpose Bondo up into the holes and along the edge and bring it flat again. And we'll bond in here as well and bring it nice and flat. Bond up here and bring it into that anchor point. And then just sand it smooth, and voila, we'll be done with this after a coat of primer and probably 2 or 3 coats of paint. But easy fix for wood trim. I mean, if you got a lot of dings and dents, or like we have here, dog scratches, it's a quick, easy fix. So let me go ahead and mix up the Bondo, and I'll get back to you when I start applying. Okay, after I did some sanding to remove, the excess paint and stuff, we've got a fairly clean surface to deal with. We are only going to be going about an inch or so back, but I did go ahead and sand all the way down so I can keep that edge nice and uniform all the way down. And I'll be able to bring it from there to there, which is probably about a 6.5 inch gap. This is not going to be one of those projects where I take it all the way down. Again, this is a rental unit, and I just need to make repairs and move on. So this is a little quick tip on down and dirty home repairs. If you need to get something done and get it done in short order, just a short video about it.
Okay.
Okay, I've already mixed this up. I'm not a big fan of the yellow that came with the hardener, because it took a little bit longer to mix in the hardener. And what I have to do is I have to build an edge. Now, I'll need you to move back just a little bit so I can work, please. Okay. Just work it until it starts getting stiff. And once it starts getting stiff, it actually makes it easier to work with. And you want to overfill it just a little bit, because when you overfill it, you can always cut off the excess. But you'll have a really hard time adding and blending more in. So, just give you a little heads up, there will be extra on here. And after you've done a few projects, you'll understand that it's really pretty easy to work with. We're just going for a simple edge here, just filling things in. And yes, we want to push that up and over. As you can tell, it's starting to get hard, which is a good thing to a certain degree. But you want it to, oops. Yep, it's getting hard. Let's make sure we got a pretty smooth edge here. Might need to add a little bit more there. Yep. And that's too late. I'll be adding more. I'd much rather have a little too much at this point, because if I've got a little too much, I can always sand it off and sand it now. And if you get any on the floor, make sure you go ahead and scrape it off really quick. We might be adding a second layer, depending. And if you really want to make this edge really smooth on your first cut, then what you can do, I'm guilty of it. I'll take my regular square, and I will set my square down here, and then I will just literally cut off the edge. A little Bondo there. Try and get the excess off. But that brought the edge out. We can mix up a little bit more and fill in up here. And I can't get a heads-on look at it right now, but that is going to look like a pretty straight edge. And as it's hardening, you can still work with it. Yeah, I'm going to have to mix up just a little bit more for down here. But we'll give it a quick 400 grit sand. And as you can see, this is about a 1/4 of an inch in. So we got that filled up, and again, I'm going to be putting on one more coat down here to to make a straight line. I'll do a little fill in up here, right here, and probably just a little more one time on that. And then we'll do a rough sand using probably 400 grit and call it good. That's it. Okay, I'm getting ready to mix in the hardener with the Bondo. Quick tip, before you ever open up your hardener, what you want to do is you want to kind of mix it inside the tube, because the oil in the hardener has a tendency to gather up by the top. So that's about it, and we've blown out the holes so there's no dust remaining. And the only reason I'm doing this short video right now is because as you can see, I'm working on kitchen cabinets, and we'll be getting those done, but I've got to let some of that work dry. So I'll go ahead and start mixing this up. What I will do is just run a line straight down through it. I'm not going to bore you with me mixing it all. I'll get right back with you. Okay, again, this is just, you know, quick and easy, down and dirty way to fill holes and remove scratch marks from dogs without having to replace everything. All right, I'll show you a recap here in just it'll probably be tomorrow when I get the recap posted. That way you can see it all painted, primered and painted, but down and dirty, easy to work with, and it's a lot cheaper than a wood filler. Tons cheaper. Okay, as you can tell, we've done a sanding, and it looks pretty good to me. You know, you're in the light. Yep, done a sanding. What we're going to do is do a quick primer coat. Here you go, dear. I don't have 3 hands.
Well, I realize that.
And we'll just, and when I'm doing a primer coat, I actually put it on pretty darn thick, because I hate to come back. And when I load a paintbrush, I just load it on one side, tap it. That way I'm really filling it up. And no, I'm not getting all the way down to the floor, because that's just insane. But go ahead and get that. Again, I don't even wipe my brush off. I just do a quick down and dirty, heavy load. And let's go ahead and get that in, because time is actually money, and since I do the repairs here, I don't get a paycheck. I get to live for free. Well, I don't live for free. I live in the apartment. So, you know, it's one of those exchange rent for labor. And we've been working 7 days a week for 4 months to bring everything up. So that's the first primer coat, and that's it. Okay, my wife has gone ahead and taken off. She's going to have some lunch, so doing this one-handed again. You know, I just tap the brush, let that paint tack up, and dried for about 15 minutes there. So this project is actually taking less than an hour to complete. So, or right at an hour, I'd say, with all the wait time. Trying to run the camera and paint, a little difficult, but we'll get her done. Come down with the final coat here. Come down the edge. There's little separation holes there. And if your brush starts to flare out a little bit, you can just wipe it back and forth like that. Tap it on the side. And there you go. Pull the strokes. There's a couple little separations in there. Never painted through the lens of a camera before. So, you know, we've got the paint nice and thick. That's the second coat. Looks like we could use just a tad more right in here. So, we'll just swipe it off to the side. Slide there. And there we go. That is looking good now. We filled up those dog scratch marks, and again, this project took about an hour or so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to go have lunch now, and we'll talk to you soon.